Then can you tell me in LCD why we are using this form of liquid crystal, the nematic form?
No, sir.
No,
I
it's
can.
all right. Okay, it's okay. Who can guess? Uday?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you have any
Sir, I
guess?
think, sir, I think um, basically this the nematic liquid crystal it is producing a 90-degree shift in the polarization uh, when there is when there is no electric field is present when the light
Mm,
is passing through. But when a voltage is applied, I think an electric field is produced in the liquid. So this causes the polarization to be slightly reduced shifting. I think this is the reason why this the effect of this light at, about the low voltage, it increases the voltage increase.
mm.
When it is applied voltage reaches in a certain level, I think the polarization shifts disappeared entirely, sir. So for the light transmission property, these that light transmission properties, I think that for this kind of reason, the 90-degree shape and the whole electric field, and for the whole criteria, I think this is the reason that the pneumatic field is used in the LCD.
Okay, yeah.
It
That's
is
very right.
used for the lighting wave characteristics
Right.
for creating the on and off state.
Uh, the main thing is actually why crystal is used. As you know, that crystal is used with that polarizing sheet, which is having a different, actually, as you can see, horizontal and vertical. That two different actually that polarizing sheet, they are controlling the light wave. But in between that, liquid crystal is working like a shutter. As they are in nematic form, when they are not actually aligned according to the charge particle, like this polarizer, this conductivity, this layer of the glass, this also that layer of the glass, whenever they have the electric that charge, then what they do, they try to align that one, the close part of that the crystals, then automatically take the alignment of this polarizing sheet, and this one of this polarizing sheet. So you see there is a kind of a wave goes on, like it is an horizontal to vertical or vertical to horizontal, right? So whenever light enter, that light enter in this point with the vertical one, that it goes, and according to that liquid crystal, it actually bent and taken the alignment as the horizontal one, and it actually passed through. Okay, but when it is actually not charged by the conductor, then what actually happens, they become in the nematic form. And the nematic form, as you have seen, they are actually in the random spaces in jagged in such a way that actually the wave cannot enter and can take form, because the light is coming now either maybe horizontal or vertical way, but it cannot actually enter to pass through that the forms. But other of them are actually grouped. You see that if you apply the polarization, then it will be difficult to, one part is horizontal, one part is vertical to control. Okay, so that is symmetric or cholesteric, the two other form is not actually applied. The it has been taken in the nematic one, which is kind of a random. Okay, the random, and you can see that it is actually, and they are actually blocked like the on the way for the light. That is a common issue for using for the nematic crystal form. And the certain those six of the layers that we have seen, and six of those layers are actually that polarizing sheet with the shape, as we already have seen, that are horizontal and vertical, these two, one and five that we are talking about, 1 and 5. One is vertical filter, another one is horizontal filter. And the 2 and 4 also with the same element, which is the glass substrate with ITO, Indian tin oxide electrodes, okay, which are actually aligned with those two of them. One is aligned with the horizontal one, another one is aligned with the vertical one, and in between we have the liquid crystal. And finally number 6 is showing that where the light will be deflected for the screen. So that's actually 6 of the layers. We will see that how that triad of color pixels. So colors are how can be handled. That we'll see a small video here. But before that, let us finish the attendance. Okay. Please come to the video for a while. All right. Do you have Alif Laila Janma?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Ashikur Rahman Ashik. Muhammad Ashikur Rahman Ashik. Muhammad Alamin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Alamin. Nishad Ara.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nishad. Saidul Islam. Shahidul Islam Antur.
Present, sir.
Antur, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, got it. Sumaya Akhtar.
Present, sir.
Okay, Sumaya. Ashik. Yes, got it, Sumaya. Ashikujaman Ashik. I can see you now.
Sir, it's not
Is
me,
it? Oh, it's not you. That is Ashikur Rahman Ashik. Okay, sorry. Arifa Akhtar. Ritu.
Present, sir.
Okay, Ritu. Umme Jinatul Nessa.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jinat. Parvez Alam.
Present,
Parvez
sir.
is there. Okay, Parvez. Redwan Ratul.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ratul. Salvi Sabah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Salvi. Chakari Hassan Pappu.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Pappu. Maria Mehjabin.
Present, sir.
Okay, Mehjabin. Israt Jarin.
Present, please, sir.
Okay, Israt. How are you now?
Sir.
Better? Okay. Abdul Khalek.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Khalek. Rabina Omi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Omi. Taznova Isha.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Isha. Shariar Tayon.
Present, sir.
Okay, Tayon. Hussein Antur. Hussein Ahmed Antur. Is it 3052? I can see you but cannot hear you, Antur.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
What about your video?
Sir.
Yes, and try to write down your full name, okay? You see that Hossein Ahmed Antur, that would be better than Pratyasha Roy.
Yes, sir.
Pratyasha, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sharnika.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Khadija Ria.
Present, sir.
Ria is there.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Alamin. Sorry. Rahat Islam Rupu.
Yes, sir.
Are you there? I cannot see you guys. I don't know why.
Present,
Yes,
sir.
I found it. Mahmoud Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mahmouda. Didar Al Mahmoud.
Present, sir.
Okay, Didar. Tamanna Tabassum.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Tamanna. Saif Mahmoud Sifat.
Present, sir.
Okay, Sifat. Fairuz Tanjim Achal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Achal. Shetuli.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Uday.
Present, sir.
How are you, Uday, now?
So I'm fine, sir.
Okay. Sadia Hussain Mauri.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mauri. Sadia Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sadia. Mantakimur Rahman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mantakimur. Atik Faisal Imun.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Imun. Rahul Devnath. Rahul Devnath. Nishat Taskim Jyoti.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jyoti. Sadat Mahmud Khan. Sadat Mahmud Khan. Firdaus Hassan Rifat.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Rifat. Khaja Minhaj Munib.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Munib. Nahida Islam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Nahida. Hasibul Hassan Shanto. Hasibul Hassan Shanto. Sharmin Sultana.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sharmin. Ryan Hussein.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ryan. Muhammad Alamin.
Yes, sir.
Alamin. Tariqul
Yes, sir.
Islam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, got it. And Ashikujaman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ashik, that's fine. So we have only 4 absent. Shanto, Sadat Mahmud Khan, Rahul, and Ashikur Rahman. Ashik, okay.
I have a question, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, our first term exam date, sir.
First term exam date, it is defined like 5 to 10 maybe, so far I know. So we'll take a decision very soon. Did you get the date from other courses?
Yes, sir.
What is the possible date you have got?
The 5 and
Sir.
7.
5, 4, 5.
And is there anything about Viva exam?
Yes, sir. Written
plus 5. Yes, sir.
Written plus Viva, then how it will be done in one day?
Sir, written will be held on 5 July and Viva will be held on 7 July.
Means in one day it is how it is possible for a section to take the Viva?
Not for one day, it's 7 and 8 also.
Maybe somewhere like that. Okay. So if we have something like that, you can understand that there could be some same schedule for the Viva, right? Because you might have some conflict as well. Whatever schedule will be given to you, try to compromise, okay? Do not say like, sir, I have Viva in this hour, then that hour, or maybe same day for 2 Viva. Take a preparation like this way, because only 5 days. That means 1 week maybe has been given. So far I didn't check. So if it is, then there will be a little bit rush. Okay, if you have 3-4 courses, then there will be Viva written exam in only in 5 days. That means you can understand will be a little bit rush. So get prepared like this way. Okay, and I will actually give you this slide today, and the recording I have to sort out. Then also the recording you will get. We will get a few more classes maybe before coming to the exam. So 5 to 7 there are chances to take the written first maybe, and we might have some are those Viva they have been actually said for your other course that could be
Sir,
in unusual
other-
time as well, like maybe in the evening, or it is in the class time they have said?
Sir, unusual time, sir.
class time, sir.
So in several
available
courses,
time.
we haven't noticed yet about the Viva decision, sir.
That's also a concern actually. So I think no, but you already said that some teachers are already taking. So maybe they have not said because it has to be taken. That's why. But still, I will make it clear. Okay. So if I am not actually be that much clear, then how I can actually give you the schedule? So you just consider that there are good chance of the Viva. Okay. All right, let us continue then. It said about this colors are displayed as they are actually displayed by placing a triad of colors. Pixel triad is actually triangular, that's its come, and or maybe the form of that tree, any screen location. Let us check the video what actually it has. I think
One, as I approach the white and everything starts to become in focus.
can you hear the sound?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It isn't so white anymore. It looks like I have to go closer even than that. Thankfully, I can go all the way to 5 times magnification. Now, one thing from this point, I am definitely going to need a tripod because there's no way my arms are sturdy enough to hold this in place. But I'll just ease it in just to show you the level of magnification we're talking about now. Well, this close, it's a different story altogether. I'm gonna get a tripod. Here's one. What a mission this is. Alright, let's see what we can do here. We're so close up right now that I can actually disturb this image by blowing on the lens. We're now looking at the sub-pixel level. A pixel is made up of 3 sub-pixels, red, green and blue, RGB, you may have heard that before, and this creates the illusion of different colors. By dimming and brightening different subpixels to different intensities, this screen can create the illusion of literally millions of different colors. When all 3 are lit to full brightness, you get white. When all 3 dim, you go through gray all the way down to black. So if green dims away and red and blue are still lit, then you go into magenta, purple, that sort of area, and that's how the colors are made. So every time on your TV you're looking at a white image, you're looking at tons of blue, green and red lights. They're just so small, they look like white to your eye. Before you get white, red, green and blue blurs into yellow, cyan and magenta, and that's what happens here when I move the screen slightly out of focus. This is too close to watch a slow-mo guy's video. I might vomit. It's the same situation. Just an entire block.
You can see that this is actually the CRT display, okay? So that
and they're bigger. As I mentioned before, this is a 4K LCD screen, which a while back were typically lit by CCFLs, or a cold cathode fluorescent lamp, which means the entire panel is backlit by fluorescent tubes. Nowadays, they are backlit by LEDs. This is why this would actually be marketed as an LED TV. The benefit of LED screens over CCFL screens is that they're a lot thinner. Now I'm going to point it at where some black text is. Now interestingly, even though this area is black, because all the subpixels have dimmed, they are still in fact backlit. Let me show you that right now. Now you can see as we push in here, you have to pardon the noise, we're at an extremely high ISO to get this shot through a macro lens. But you can see even the dimmed pixels, part of the liquid crystal.
Alright, that is a discussion from LCD to LED when we are actually going. LED is nothing but actually an LCD display. Only the backlight. We discussed on the other day that the backlight for the LCD is actually CCFL, that called, and that fluorescent light actually they have. But for LED, they have the LED for the backlight. That means you need the light source that we have seen. Now, the concern about LCD and that LED, they are not creating that light, they are actually modulating the light. You can see that the black part, if you have some part of the black, what actually the situation in the pixel level, that subpixel or pixel level, they are not actually entirely black. You can see that still you can see some shade of the subpixel. The reason is only that there is a tube light actually. So it is something like this mechanism. This part of the what is called liquid crystal are blocking that light, so that you cannot see that part, and which is maybe a text. Okay, maybe something written in the black color. So this pixel has to be black color. That's why it's been here. But these are not.
Display is it's now trying to block all light from penetrating through, but it's still a backlit pixel. And that's one of the fundamental limitations of an LCD screen. You can see this effect on an LCD screen in the credits of a film, because you've got an almost completely black image, but because there's white text, the entire backlight has to be on to display the white, which means light will leak out from the black pixels, which means it's not true black. There is another technology that's becoming much more common these days, and that is an OLED screen, organic light emitting diode. I did want to include a comparison between an LCD.
All right, we what actually OLED is, that's much more is different technique they do apply to control. Yes.
Sir, in that black light part, sir, not clear, sir.
The black light part is, you see the light here, the light is not creating, right? Light is actually using here. So the entire system in the backlight, there is actually some light source. For the LED, when we come for the LED, still this mechanism is actually LCD, okay, the display that we have. LCD in the back side, there is having a tube light, like fluorescent tube light, which gives the light, and that light goes through. Now, whenever in your entire screen, so that backlight, when it is coming, so entire screen is getting the light, right? Out of that, some part the liquid crystal is blocking. So the some part is actually the light cannot enter, some part actually the light is entering. So when it is actually blocking, that part is black, so you cannot see it. Now that's why in the LCD screen or LED screen, the black cannot be seen as a true black. Do you understand? You have seen that some part on that video that it was been showing that this is actually not the pure black. So
in that video, sir, some parts are true black, sir, not see the pixel, sir.
yeah, that is actually why you see that this is a text there, black, slow, right?
Yes.
You have many things like that. Even in our screen also sometimes we have. So that's actually it's been saying that in that part, the text is in that part, maybe that the letter S, just for consideration. Now what actually happened, it is still not actually pure black. The reason is there is a light behind, because they are not creating this screen as light, they are actually using the light. Do you understand now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ryan, right?
Sir, these black parts are using light, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, these black parts are using light.
Entire screen is using light. Okay, entire screen is using light, and that light you are actually blocking some cases you are actually entering, and according to the signal that how the intensity should be. Now at this level, then actually you are actually creating different colors for it. You can see here that whenever it was actually creating a different color, I think maybe in here, in this actually the entire screen, the white, this part. So whenever it will be a different color, then you can see the already the light combination, right? There is no red, green and blue is creating that color. So it's in the subpixel level, actually according to the value of intensity that you have on the base of the signal, that actually create the color. Now when you have a screen where you have something that is actually some image where you have different color, especially the black, when it comes, then the problem is actually this thing happen that it is not entirely, the screen is not black. So whatever part should be black, that part they try to block the light. Okay, the light is behind for everyone.
Sir, in that block part something writing, sir.
Something is written. That's why we say there's the text there, maybe that S.
Yes, sir.
Right? So that's why it says LCD and LED, that display cannot produce the true black color, because it's still the light behind there. So there is still some kind of, because here is actually this part is actually glowing, this part is black, okay, but still it is visible. But in OLED, the organic light emitting display, that is actually, that's why this is expensive, because at this level, or maybe the plasma display, they create the individual that pixel, that is the light. Okay, so individual pixel, when they create the light, then they can generate the true black color. Means your picture becomes more clear or maybe more nice to see that the exact black color that you can find out, right?
Yes.
So that as you have seen that the better way to check is this one for LED, that the light source, right? So this light source for the LED, they also have the same mechanism as like LCD. They are using that light emitting diodes, okay, not that tube, and the light is actually passing through as same, like you can see that vertical and that horizontal film, okay, with that electrode they have, the glass electrode. And here the extra actually, that one is this TFT, which is thin film transistor, and that is actually for controlling the light with the transistor is actually better. So for better control actually they do use it, and this is the liquid crystal in between that they have. So either they actually let the light in or maybe block the light, and there is a color filter, that means actually the pixel level, that color filter actually give you that light become the different color to hold, and in the screen that actually you can follow it and you can actually see it, that what is the image has been created, okay. And this is an extra actually for diffuser or light guide. So the light actually comes randomly from different of those position of those LEDs. Those light they actually here, they try to guide it accordingly or uniformly, that the wave can go the entire part of the screen, okay. So that's actually the LED display. If you have actually exam LED, then actually you can explain the LCD in considering the speciality or the difference with the LCD. LCD use actually fluorescent lamp, that is actually that CCFL, that cold cathode fluorescent lamp it says. This is actually taking much more actually energy, and also it creates some heat. So that's why actually the LED is actually more popular, and especially you will find like LED, light emitting diodes display. So LED display is actually light emitting diode display. Interestingly, this mechanism of this display, as we have seen, is using the light wave, not creating the light, okay. So that's why it is not light emissive display, okay. So the category that we have done, light emitting discharge, LED is not light emitting discharge, okay. So do not make actually mistake, it is a light modulating display, but the name is actually light emitting diode display, okay. So that's the basic difference. Now we already have seen that the organic light emitting display, they have also said, which is a good one, right? The organic light emitting display is produce the true black color, and also this is actually a light emitting display, but they don't use any LED, okay. No diode they do actually use. So we generally tend to associate the word organic with the food articles, as we know that organic is commonly we use with the food article, right? What is the actual meaning for the organic, or maybe with some other as well, as we know that commonly they say it organic. Natural, right? Some sort, that is more like natural. Any other? Environment friendly, isn't it? Commonly organic means environment friendly, healthy we say, like the food, okay. Maybe someone is actually producing or growing some plant for vegetables or something, we call it mostly the organic. They don't try to put any chemical there, right? Mostly that's we can find. Other thing we have seen, organic you will find with the compost, right? As you know that compost has been actually produced or created with some plants, all other plants or some other thing which actually having some living entity, coming from some living entity maybe. So those are commonly the organic. So in OLED, in organic light emitting display have a different actually organic in that sense. Mostly that is they are saying like organic actually layer they do use. That's why actually that's called the organic LED. In chemistry, organic compounds are those that contain lines or rings of carbon atoms. That's actually the reason for making the bond. Everyday items like plastic, wood, sugar, and gasoline, all are organic compounds they have. And this display OLED of an organic film layer they do have inside the panel. So that's why actually they are called the organic LED. Okay, so I hope that you can remember that mostly they have a special layer for the organic layer that called. So that's why actually they become the OLED. Now you can see that the typical construction of the OLED, a different part, where that almost like commonly 6 layers they do have, and there is actually 2 glass layer. The outermost layers are called the seal on the top, okay, and the substrate, the bottom layer, those 2, a glass layer, okay, those 2 of them. Next come actually an anode and cathode, those 2. So that they come like a pair, so that one is actually that is cathode on the top, it's been showing, and this is actually the anode it's been showing. As we all know that anode is actually a positive terminal, isn't it, and cathode is actually the negative terminal. And this two of those layer, they make a sandwich like in between those 2 layer, okay, and this 2 layer, one is called the emissive layer, another one is called the conductive layer. These layers are layers, both of them are actually organic layer, so that they are created with organic molecules or the polymers. And the name suggests emissive layer, that means from here maybe the light will have a relationship with the conductive is actually that may be taken, and the light output, as you can see, the coming from the top to this way, okay. So that's the internal structure of the LED with their layer. So the working process, how actually it can work, as they are creating the light. You see that that's why it is actually light emitting display, not the light modulating display, because here also it is creating the light. Now when the power is switched on, the cathode, as you know, that is actually the negative terminal, they start receiving the electron from the power source, as you know. Like look at in this diagram, that cathode on the top, okay, those 2 actually layer for the emissive and conductive layer, and then we have the anode. So electrical current flows from the cathode to the anode through the organic layers, okay. Yes, Jonathan Nissa. Okay, and the anode, the positive terminal, starts losing them, okay. So the cathode in the negative terminal, they start to getting the electrons, as you can see, while the anode start to lose it, okay. As a result of this, the emissive layer, which is adjacent to the cathode, as you can see, the green one is actually the emissive layer, they are actually attached with the cathode, starts becoming more negatively charged. So they started to become more negative charged because the electrons are coming there, and for the due to the increase in the supply of the electrons, and the conductive layer becomes more positively charged because they are having more holes, that conductive layer. Now the positively charged particles, which is holes, are more mobile than the electrons. They cross over to the emissive layer, so that what actually happens, that holes or the positive charge, those are actually try to go to the emissive layer to get those electrons, okay, the negatively charged. So what happened, they start to bump in here, that holes are actually bumping from that conductive layer to the emissive layer. So every times they actually bump, they start create the photon, okay. And this is actually the fundamental particle of light, as we know, the photon, and this is the way actually that light has been created, even in the diode as well. So that's the way light has been generated, and that light is actually flowed down, so that this is in the upside down, that we see that cathode in the bottom there, so that when in that bump in that hole in the emissive layer, so that actually that light is actually created on that point. There is actually a filter there, color filter, so that light is actually flowing through and gone through on the top. So that's actually the way it works. Holes keep bumping into the electrons and producing light in the process as long as the power is on. The moment you pull the plug on the power supply, the transfer stops and instantly the actually screen goes dark. So you need actually flow of the voltage for that charge. As you can see that the electron and that positive charge holes, they need to be continuously has to be have a flow, so then actually they can pump and create the light. And that's the reason that true black color LCD can be seen. So there's a video for that on a small part of that the same video, that how OLED is creating the exact true color. That means actually that black color, when there is a black, there is no charge there for actually creating the light, so that it become completely blurred, which we have not seen in the LCD or LED, that in the video as well. Okay. All right, I think maybe time is up, so that we'll continue and hopefully finish on the next day. Okay. We have only some graphic system to discuss, and you will get the slide today. All right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
All
Sir.
right, that's-
Okay, sir.
all right. Thank you very much. See you on the next class then.
Okay, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Please like.
Welcome, Salam.
Sir, assalamu alaikum.
Welcome, Salam.